ChatGPT said. Marcus wiped a smear of warm engine grease from his fingers onto his already stained coveralls and squinted up at Emperor Jothik's royal cruiser as it lifted from Bay 7. The ship rose on a column of shimmering blue thrust, casting long shadows across the celestial forge shipyard. Docking clamps retracted with a hollow clang. The cruiser's hull caught the station lights, a gleaming wedge of gold and obsidian, then slid away toward the star-dusted dark. Another day, another Imperial visit. Another instance of the towering reptilian ruler walking within 10 meters of him, without a flicker of recognition. Marcus preferred it that way. "You fixed the quantum stabilizer again," a familiar voice said. He didn't have to turn to know it was Isabella. She stepped up beside him, pressing a steaming cup of bitter station coffee into his hand. The chief engineer's coveralls were cleaner than his, but not by much. Her violet eyes, bright and reflective in the station light, marked her unmistakably as Valoran. They sparkled with a mix of amusement and exasperation. The Emperor's chief mechanic spent 3 weeks trying to diagnose that problem, she added. Marcus lifted the cup to his lips. The coffee tasted like burnt metal and old socks, but it was hot. "Loose coupling on the tertiary manifold," he said with a shrug. "Basic stuff. Basic for you." "Maybe," Isabella said. She leaned against the railing, her gaze following the cruiser as it became a glint, then a speck, then nothing. The hangar below bustled. Cargo drones zipped between bays. Workers shouted over the hum of machinery. A small patrol corvette drifted into Dock 3, its thrusters flaring as guidance systems took over. "Did you hear?" Isabella asked. "The Emperor just authorized another 50 million credits for the search. That's 200 million total now." Marcus had heard. Everyone from the core worlds to the fringe mining outposts had heard. The news feeds wouldn't shut up about it. 6 months ago, an anonymous transmission had hit the Imperial Science Network. No signature, no origin. Just a data burst tunneled through so many relay stations the original source was untraceable. Inside, a complete solution to the Kraft equation. A mathematical puzzle that had mocked the brightest minds of the Jothik Empire for 3 centuries. The Kraft equation hadn't just been solved. It had been transformed. The answer was elegant, almost playful, opening doors to faster-than-light travel routes that made current hyperdrives look like wheeled carts on dirt roads. New energy efficiencies, new stability regimes, new geometries of space itself. The Emperor wanted whoever had done it. He wanted them badly enough to pour more money into the search than some frontier planets saw in a century. Bounties, university grants, prize pools, covert investigations. The whole empire had become an enormous net, casting and recasting itself into the dark. "They're interviewing the station's senior staff tomorrow," Isabella said, still watching the empty patch of space where the cruiser had vanished. "Anyone with advanced mathematics credentials. The Emperor's convinced the genius must be someone important, someone educated at the core world academies." She curled her lip around the word important. Marcus took another slow sip, letting the bitter liquid anchor him. Educated, sure, just not where they were looking. He'd learned math at a cramped kitchen table on Earth, in a city that never saw stars. His grandmother had shown him how numbers could be puzzles, not chores. He'd burned through library terminals after school, devouring every textbook, every old academic paper he could find, while other kids played grab-ball in the streets. By 16, he'd been solving problems that made his teachers uneasy. By 20, he'd realized that being a human prodigy in a galaxy ruled by an ancient alien empire made people more than uneasy. It made them curious. It made them watch. So he'd taken a different path. Shipyards, grease, wrenches. Just another human mechanic in a station full of them. Easy to overlook. Easy to forget. The Emperor's chief mathematician gave a speech, Isabella said, called the solution divine inspiration. Said whoever solved it must be walking among the gods. She turned her head, studying him sidelong. There was something almost sharp in her look, like a scalpel testing skin. Funny, isn't it? She murmured. Everyone's looking up when they should be looking around. Marcus's fingers tightened around his cup. Isabella had been watching him for months now, ever since the incident with the shipyard's power distribution grid. He'd pointed out a subtle flaw during a routine check, almost offhand. It had taken the engineering team 3 weeks of simulations and diagnostics to confirm he was right. I should get back to work, Marcus said. The transport in Bay 12 needs its engine calibrated. That transport left an hour ago. Isabella replied softly. You calibrated it during your lunch break. I checked the logs. He didn't answer. The station hummed around them. Ventilation systems. Reactor thrum. The distant whine of a plasma cutter. For a few heartbeats, neither of them spoke. Why? Isabella asked finally. Why hide what you can do? Marcus stared out at the stars, at the mottled river of the nebula that curved beyond the station. Out there, the Jothik Empire stretched across to 100 systems, its clawed hands wrapped around trade routes and wormholes, and histories older than humanity's first radio signals. Humans were late rivals, tolerated as useful labor, occasionally as decorative ambassadors, never as equals. Because the moment they know, Marcus said quietly, I stop being Marcus the mechanic. I become Marcus the asset. Marcus the weapon. Marcus the thing they need to control. He turned to look at her fully. The Emperor doesn't want to hire whoever solved that equation. He wants to own them. Lock them in a tower of research labs and golden chains. Make sure their genius never serves anyone but his empire. And you'd rather fix engines? Isabella asked. I'd rather be free, Marcus said. A small smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. Besides, I do my best work when no one's watching. Isabella's eyes narrowed. How much work are we talking about? 3 more papers so far, Marcus said, as if he were mentioning extra chores. Under different pseudonyms. Solution to the Velka paradox. New fusion containment protocols. A gravitational shielding redesign that should double effective sublight velocity. Isabella stared at him. That was you? The Velka solution has the entire scientific community losing their minds. They're calling it the work of multiple geniuses. Maybe a secret think tank. Nope, Marcus said. Just a human mechanic with too much time on night shifts and a decent encryption suite. He drained the last of his coffee and set the empty cup on the rail. And I plan to keep it that way. Let them search. Let them burn credits they'll never see again. They're looking for someone extraordinary, someone who shines. He picked up his toolbox from where it rested by his boots. They'll never find the person who's learned the greatest trick there is. Which is? Isabella asked, though he suspected she already knew. That ordinariness is the perfect disguise. Marcus headed for the lift. Now, if you'll excuse me, there's a coolant leak in Bay 4 that everyone else thinks is unfixable. Should take me about 20 minutes. Isabella watched him go, shaking her head, a reluctant smile on her face. Below, the Emperor's search team was setting up in a cordoned-off section of the hangar. Glossy equipment, racks, portable quantum cores, neural analysis rigs, genetic scanners that could map ancestry in seconds. They moved with crisp efficiency, assured in their superiority. They had brought everything except the humility to suspect the grease-stained human mechanic. Walking past them with a dented toolbox and a bored expression. That evening, in his cramped quarters to decks above the reactor core, Marcus sat cross-legged on his narrow bunk. His toolbox served as a makeshift desk, a battered datapad balanced on top of it. The room smelled faintly of metal dust and recycled air. A single viewport showed a sliver of distant stars. Lines of symbols and equations flowed across the datapad's screen. Marcus moved through them with the ease of breathing. He wasn't solving a problem so much as uncovering something that had been waiting for someone to notice. Stable wormhole generation. Not the messy, probabilistic corridors the Empire used, now dangerous shortcuts that occasionally spat unfortunate. Ships into stray dimensions, but truly stable. Tunable gateways. Predictable. Safe. Transformative. The mathematics unfolded like music. Each step clicked into place, every term following with a kind of inevitable grace. No Imperial oversight committee hovered over his shoulder. No lab director demanded progress reports. No Emperor weighed his worth against the treasury. Just Marcus. Just his curiosity. Just the quiet thrill of shaping something new out of the raw fabric of thought. Somewhere, far above his pay grade, Emperor Jothik raged in gilded chambers. Somewhere, search teams grilled professors and admirals and academy prodigies, scanning their brains, checking their DNA, combing through their publications. Somewhere, star systems reallocated budgets, chasing a reward they would never win. And here, in a tiny room on a supposedly ordinary station, a human mechanic smiled to himself and changed the universe one anonymous equation at a time. After all, he thought as he saved another encrypted draft to a hidden partition, the best way to hide a star wasn't to dim its light. It was to leave it burning, bright and unremarkable, among a billion others.